Most people don't know that Doctor Strange can separate from his physical form and control both of them at the same time and attack you with it. So it's like a clone. He can attack you in spirit mode and blast you in his physical form at the same time. Life sometimes is so unpredictable, especially when you look at the magician known as Doctor Strange and what he had to deal with. This guy just literally wanted to get his hands fixed and ends up being the mightiest sorcerer ever. Like, this how it went. With Dr. Stephen Strange, they explain it pretty clear cut right here in narration, but modern comics interpretation of what happened in his life. Reminiscing on the past, he was a brilliant but arrogant neurosurgeon whose hands got busted up basically in a car accident. He was so desperate to heal them, he sought out the Ancient One. The Ancient One said, "No, I'm not going to heal you. Only those who are worthy, but I'll teach you magic and throw you around for a little bit." Time goes past. He meets up with different characters, learns about different dark forces, the magic world, the Book of Ashanti, all the heavy stuff. They explain it like this: days turn into weeks, years. Doctor Strange studied the long dead mystic arts. Slowly he changed. Slowly his life took on a new, deeper meaning. Slowly he prepared himself for the epic battles ahead, the battles which can only be won by Doctor Strange, Master of Magic. Back in these days, they used to dub it Master of Black Magic. Just in case you're curious, in the comics, he does address this hand issue about his hands being busted up and heals them up. Just know this: he's one of the greatest practitioners of the mystic arts of this dimension and any other dimension as well. He has magic in his blood. Different comics throughout the years, he's described as the greatest sorcerer. He's Stephen Strange. I mean, even if he's not Sorcerer Supreme in the traditional sense that you're used to, being the Sorcerer Supreme of the earthly realm, he's got to be some kind of Sorcerer Supreme, even if he's not Sorcerer Supreme of the earthly realm. Like, for example, he'll just straight up be the Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard. He's going to be Sorcerer Supreme in some way, form, or fashion. And he still loves women. He specifically loves Clea. Being a sorcerer type character, you probably don't expect much from his physicals, but let's just say he can amplify his physicals with magic. So you got to kind of worry about a punch from this guy too. We've seen him getting in slugfest with beings that have physical advantages over him. We've seen him strike and make these beings drowsy. There's occasions where he's kind of depowered. He still puts in work. Look at how people react when they get hit by him. They kind of might fly. It's dubbed here, all of his Sorcerer Supreme powers were useless, but Stephen Strange is not merely a wizard. First and above, he is a human, a living intelligence contained in a shell of flesh. I think anybody that can hit and affect mindless ones, I think your magic has to be amping up your physicals. I'm just saying. Wolverine was amped up with super magic in this particular occasion here, so we all know Wolverine's physically strong. In this particular occasion, he was extremely resistant to Strange's magic. He got past his protective spells because he's extremely amped up. We see him get in a fist fight, hand-to-hand fight with an amped up Wolverine, somebody we know is physically superhumanly strong. Yeah, this proves that Doctor Strange's physicals ain't too bad, but believe it or not, this also proves Doctor Strange can fight because he's fighting Wolverine, one of the best fighters in Marvel. It's even stated that he has martial arts taught to him by Wong. Even when Captain America made his own tier list, he agrees about Wolverine being in a category of characters that have ridiculous augmented strength and highly skilled. So Strange boxing with him in physicals is a lot more impressive than you think. Captain America says this group of guys is not only superhuman in strength, they know how to use it to its fullest advantage. These opponents were the all-around hardest to beat. Wolverine was on this list. And this Wolverine was amplified beyond normal means, and Strange still was boxing him. Other than Wolverine, we've seen him box Mantis in hand-to-hand, so you know he's a good skilled fighter. He straight up says, "No magic do I need beyond the strength of these hands," so it lets you know he's not using magic. You see him mess up these thugs with just straight hands here, and make sure you're caught on guard because he can knock you out with a sucker punch. He was disguised here. This powerful tyrant of the sixth dimension, Doctor Strange uses straight hand-to-hand combat on. Vampires can lift up tanks in Marvel, like especially higher end ones like Morbius. Morbius is the same guy that can hit hard enough and knock out Spider-Man level beings. This is the same Spider-Man that can withstand having hundreds of thousands of tons or close to 1,000,000 tons on his back and crap. Like, knocking him out ain't easy. And in this particular comic, it's explicitly talked about on how he doesn't have his cloak or gear. And Doctor Strange talked about mystic spells isn't his only weapon because he has martial arts sessions with Wong. I do want to make it clear, he acknowledges that vampire tiers have the strength advantage, but Doctor Strange is still boxing it out with these beings that are superhumanly strong like this. Doctor Strange straight up says no spells. He was only able to stun him, but hey, for somebody not using any magic and just being a normal human, apparently, it's still impressive doing this to a vampire tier this high up that can knock out Spider-Man level beings. We all know full-powered magic up Doctor Strange, got Morbius though. It's cool seeing Doctor Strange hold his own as well. Like, I don't think these artists are drawing energy around his fist for no reason. This kind of stuff imply that his fists are being amplified by energy, or heck, I'd even argue sometimes when they don't necessarily show the energy, I would argue he still might be able to hit with extra force, even if you don't necessarily see the artist draw the energy around his fist. Like, it's even stated when he's against physically stronger beings, that doesn't matter as much when you're a magician, like on the level of him. And then we see him straight up punch these beings that are physically stronger, and you see blood drip out from the weight of his hit, and you don't even see energy around his fist right here in this particular situation. You see him punch these beings here. He's not afraid to throw fists, punches. It's clear his punches are superhuman, even if they don't necessarily spell it out for us when we're reading the comics. In his lore, he's a strategist supreme, brilliant strategist. He's a weapons wizard, also skilled with magical infused weapons such as swords, axes, etc. Yeah, he can wield different melee weapons, use them in combat, even if it's magical melee weapons, bow and arrows. Because he took archery classes from Hawkeye at the Avengers Mansion, he's wielded blades, used axes, bats. You see him holding Asgardian gear here, and you see him using this stuff on the cover art. Like here, you see him holding every weapon you can think of. Yes, Doctor Strange is a swordsman that can create his own sword. Oh, yeah. I meant to say, he can create his own weapons too. I'm talking about he just grabbed a butter knife and just turned it into a real fiery sword to like sword fight with. Yeah, Punisher was demonically amped, but you see him just make a mystical axe to stab you with it. Now, if we really get down into it, when we do add in his magic, this is common. What magic person do you know that can't use some kind of telekinesis? He can push you, make you levitate, can catch you if you're in the middle of flying, pick up groups of people, and tells these robbers to get out of his house. Yeah, Doctor Strange can basically use the Force. Or you could say pin all these creatures, or he can use this pressure outwardly and blast people like Spider-Man out of his house. Are you really surprised he can lift up cars with his telekinesis? Multiple, like this has got to be at least 10 tons worth that he can pick up and just toss to the side. Look at this bridge. With his magic or energy, he can save people in the process while holding this bridge together, while catching cars and vehicles, stitching all of it together, holding a lot of weight at the same time. With prep time, yeah, you don't want him or Clea to have prep time. He was going to do a spell to wipe out all vampires at one time. It seemed to take some time though. It was like this special spell that he was going to do. But honestly, he can definitely move mountains, and his blasts are mightier than any nuke on the planet put together. I mean, when you can lift an actual moon up, moving it is already more power than any nuke on the planet combined, but actually making this same structure you move explode as well shows his raw blast power. Just to give you a visual, if he can make something like this explode, what do you think he's going to do to continents on the Earth? These continents on Earth are done for. If he can make moons move and destroy them with his magic. Like he was powered up using the Eye of Agamotto, one of his many gears that he uses, standard gear, you could say. Finding the weakness of the planet here, he can blast with enough energy to cause the planet to explode. Assuming this is a normal sized planet, this is more impressive than moon shattering. So not only moon sized structures, but also Earth or planet sized structures. With his famous gear like the Eye of Agamotto, he can planet shatter. Oh, and by the way, this raw power I've been talking about isn't just his blast power, but it goes for his shields too. Like he has automatic shields. Even if it looks like he took it head on, his shields took it, his invisible shields take it. Yes, this looks like he has no protection, but he had invisible shields up. He's shielded by an invisible force. Like his shields will just come up to stop the rain from hitting him at times. There's even comics that break down all the different amplifications he has, which is why his physicals don't really matter. He's got a connection to the ether, the magic of the world, the power of the Vishanti, the power of the Sorcerer Supreme. Like it's a lot of different ways he's powerful and durable and is amplified. But anyway, him getting hit by this character and having his invisible shields protect him lets you know what he has to deal with and how durable his shields is. And implies that he's way above planet shattering levels of power because this thing can hit with the power hard enough to make mountains into dust easily and power to hurl stars from their paths, hurl stars. More than one star, apparently. Yeah, one star is already crazy, but they said stars. The Earth is already this small compared to the sun. If something can hurl more than one of this from its path, it has more than enough energy to earth shatter. Visually speaking, something that can hurl multiple of these. He has an aura that you can't see that protects him against forces that can literally hurl stars from their paths. Imagine a planet blowing up right next to you, but Doctor Strange's shield can still shield from this mess. You could say this is kind of the reason why you can't just obliterate Doctor Strange, even if you catch him slipping, because he's always warded up, shielded up, even if you don't necessarily see it. He has all type of durability protection type spells. Everything you can think of when you think of durability, mental subversion, resistance to all that, spiritual destruction. That's why he's so hard to hurt. You can't even eat what Doctor Strange eats without dying. But does his blast power match up with this kind of durability? Yeah, his blast power does match up, actually. Because other than withstanding stuff like this, see, there was this actual star he had to deal with. Imagine you having to fight an actual sun. Just imagine that. Something that makes Earth-sized things look ridiculously small. Like, imagine having to fight that. Let's just say this is kind of what Doctor Strange had to deal with. They constantly call this being a star against a being that went supernova and collapsed into a black hole, can move something as dense and massive as a black hole and hurl it somewhere else, y'all. So, no pun intended, he can definitely blast with more force than a sun falling on your face. I mean, when you can hurl or move black holes themselves, that's absurdity. Oh yeah, I haven't really talked about his astral projection stuff. I'm gonna talk about that in a bit or again later throughout this video multiple times. But yeah, he did this feat while he was in spirit astral projection mode. So yeah, he can attack you while he's in the spirit mode, by the way. And the spirit mode is usually where he's the fastest at, and that makes it more convenient and stuff like that. Yeah. What makes it even worse, he has gear that can absorb your blast. So you might just end up making him powerfuler because he just has he might have gear on him that will suck it up, like the Eye of Agamotto. Oh, and by the way, this gear, Eye of Agamotto, isn't just some gun you can just steal off of him and use it for yourself. No, you got to be worthy of it. Not everybody can use this weapon. Doctor Strange is one of the rare people that can, though. He can shield from a collision from Eternity and Dormammu clashing with each other. And an impact that's so hard that it's narrated to be brighter than 1,000 exploding suns. Even though that's a bit vague, but look how they narrate it here again. You see what I mean? You remember the character Ronan? You know how he wields this universal weapon, a weapon that can energy project and do a lot of amazing things, along with helping other characters like Silver Surfer and others help merge two suns, aka produce a lot of energy to be able to merge stars, along with Silver Surfer and others. They actually pulled this off. You're probably, what does this have to do with Doctor Strange? Well, like I said, it's hard to measure it, but he can just duplicate a weapon that's powerful. To where, let's say, everybody gets one. He's just multiplying weapons that can just merge stars like it's no big deal. Like, that's kind of cheating. Can't you just give everybody planet-shattering weapons? Yeah, there was a time Doctor Strange became Harvest Man, Death, Sorcerer Supreme. He's been every Sorcerer Supreme you can almost think of. Being Harvest Man, there's perks, like being pretty freaking strong with magic and stuff like he usually would be, but also it's hard to kind of kill him with conventional things too, because he's apparently dead right here in this particular situation, technically. There was an undead Sentry, you guys know the reputation of Sentry, having the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. They both was working together, fighting this being. Sentry definitely didn't have the advantage, like Zombie Sentry. They're literally boxing with a being that has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. Strange gets like a little even crazier power up when he basically did the fusion technique with his sweetie Clea, and they became this. So if you had your doubts about him being able to handle the Sentry, you shouldn't have your doubts when him and Clea became one. When he was Harvest Man, of course. That's what a fighter tide in raw power seemed to turn. But, of course, with all this power, nothing like this stays as it is. Gotta love temporary power. But one benefit is that it did make Doctor Strange alive again, though. That's how they wrote that into there. Let's face it, though, without this power up, he can still box beings that have the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. I mean, he's fighting beings that can do more than just shatter suns. It's probably just a pun for the Sentry at this point, honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess he could just drink this stuff, getting the power of Zom, for example, to become this super powerful version of himself that allows him just to hit hard and even damage Hulk, punch holes in Hulk, blasting through him, and more. Hulk in one of his most angered states ever. This is the same Hulk that can box, fist fight, and slugfest with the actual Sentry himself. There's even clear indication that he's capable of more crazy blast power. There's a lot of powerhouses in Marvel that can produce this level of power. Like the Hulk, for example, he was able to kind of restrain by summoning Sidorak bands. Remember this feat with Darkcrawler? We're talking about Marvel powerhouses being able to constantly do this, ripping cosmoses asunder and stuff with their hits. So now you got some sort of idea why Strange temporarily doing this is impressive with his bands of Sidorak. Like, these are the kind of beings he constantly has to deal with in Marvel. I'm not saying it's impossible for somebody like the Hulk to break through the Crimson Bands, because we actually seen Strange himself bust out the Crimson Bands himself too. Crimson Bands is something known to restrain powerful beings, and I feel like Strange and both Hulk and Strange can bust through them, Strange has to deal with characters, powerhouses in Marvel that can destroy a universe, a cosmos, or even quake multiple universes, or an infinite number of universes or dimensions. Like, he's constantly having to deal with characters like this, characters like Hulk, but also cosmic-ish type beings, Hell Lord-ish type beings, like Dormammu. Like, matter of fact, in this occasion that I already brought up, I'm bringing it up again, but this time look at the narration a little closer. He was able to shield from an impact of Eternity and Dormammu clashing. Keep in mind, the universe itself is clashing. It says it seems to shred the very fabric of existence when these guys are clashing. And Strange can shield from this kind of bullcrap. Dormammu's a being that's a cosmic celestial type being, and he was blasting with his vortex, and Strange had to counter it with his own blast, or flames of Faltine. He actually made something that Dormammu made vanquish, or vanish, and Dormammu was kind of overexpended. He countered Dormammu, erasing him from existence here. Narration even says that Doctor Strange bested Dormammu himself in a fair fight, and this is the same Dormammu that boxed with Eternity. Dormammu lost to Eternity, but there was a resulting trans-dimensional holocaust. He's blasting, fighting, dealing with beings like Dormammu on a consistent basis that can produce trans-dimensional holocausts. They said it, not me. Dormammu pulling up to Eternity. Strange even says this threatens to destroy them both, including Eternity, like destroying the universe. This is what Strange had to shield from. Dormammu confirms that Doctor Strange shielded himself from a clash this mighty between Dormammu and Eternity himself. Strange shielded from Dormammu here, him and Clea. Yeah, there's even other magical type characters that harness their strength for months just to do a punch to Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is able to shield from it still. The Shield of Seraphim, this character known as Mordo, was amped by Dormammu. Doctor Strange was having his way with him to the point where Dormammu himself had to just step in. There's this time Dormammu had bound Strange. Strange has his methods on busting free, gear, magic, etc. Eye of Agamotto, you name it, all this stuff put together allows him to be able to break free. Doctor Strange was extremely suppressed here, not having all his power, but he had artifacts. His gear was the day saver in this particular situation for him to get free. Him and Dormammu can blast each other to the point where they literally shatter each other's essences. Doctor Strange's plan was to force him to act before his strength was fully controlled, then turn it, bend it, disrupting space and time around us until we were both torn apart and scattered to the multi-dimensional winds. Yeah, he was willing to throw away his own life to take out Dormammu, but that didn't go as planned. Doctor Strange is so mighty that even before becoming Sorcerer Supreme, oh yeah, for those that want to know, there is a power level difference between being labeled the Sorcerer Supreme and not being the Sorcerer Supreme. It takes a fragment of his living soul. They explain it here about the fragment of his soul, and if he decides to give it to somebody else, they can become Sorcerer Supreme. So it is an actual power amp, not just strictly a title. There's a reason why Doctor Strange was begging Doctor Doom to give me the mantle back. Let you know that it is power related. There even seems to be standard gear that goes along with being the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth realm, like certain gear you don't see on him no more, the cloak and the eye. It's even talked about here when he's fighting Baron Mordo, when he's not Sorcerer Supreme, he talks about he doesn't need the cloak and the eye to best certain magic people, implying that the cloak and the eye are perks along with being the Sorcerer Supreme, implied there. And Clea also makes this distinction. Usually when he's Sorcerer Supreme, he's in red. The lower version of himself, the Master of Black Magic, he's in blue. This is like a way for us readers to know if he's Sorcerer Supreme or not. In certain comics, you can argue. If he's wearing blue, he's not Sorcerer Supreme at that point in the comic. If he's wearing red, he more than likely is Sorcerer Supreme. You see what I mean? Dormammu's always had major issues with him. Like some of these scans I already showed, but I'm just trying to hammer on how their energy is clashing with each other, beams struggling with each other, countering each other. Dormammu had to exert so much energy fighting Doctor Strange. He didn't even realize it, but his barrier shield was progressively getting weakened. I don't know how much proof you need. Doctor Strange had to amp up Dormammu with energy, help Dormammu out in this particular situation because he was so drained from fighting Doctor Strange. If you fight Doctor Strange so much to where you get drained this much, I would say you had to have been a worthy opponent for Dormammu. Doctor Strange had to be. There's even comics where Dormammu and Doctor Strange will reminisce on their past battles and how they met and them getting the advantage over each other. Doctor Strange getting the advantage over Dormammu. Doctor Strange is even trolling Dormammu, talking about, I have a good memory for my victories. Dormammu is a character that's capable of challenging the Celestials themselves, y'all. Heck, there's even times where he believes he can bring down the Celestials. Dormammu is a being that makes other Hell Lords have meetings like this at a round table, and they're even nervous about him. There's even some comics that imply Mephisto is below Dormammu. Like they straight up said Mephisto is nothing. I'm gonna get to the other Hell Lords in a second, but look, Dormammu believes he can take on Celestials. These cosmic beings are nothing to joke around about. Each universe, the Celestial exists as an aspect of one being across all the multiverse simultaneously. These are the kind of beings that have created the multiverse itself. Let that sink in. That's why Doctor Strange messing with Dormammu like this is crazy. Speaking of the universe or multiverse itself, Eternity, yeah, the universe itself is alive, just for those that are new to Marvel. Yeah, Eternity is alive, a living being. Dormammu literally boxed with the universe. That's funny, right? Speaking of Eternity real quick, like the actual universe itself, he pulled fragments of eternity, apparently, because that which he has taken from him, he swiftly bestows on another. It's one of those feats that's hard to measure. That sounds impressive. There was these breaches that Doctor Strange had to seal, dimensional branches in eternity's being, so, imagine the universe itself acting drowsy, like eternity itself. There was spells suppressing him. Strange had used his amulet to help awaken eternity, the universe itself. And in this comic, they make sure they want you to know that Strange saved eternity, saved everything, and saved the universe. Let's look again even further when it comes to analyzing Hell Lords. I think everybody respects Mephisto's power level when it comes to Hell Lords. We've seen Doctor Strange get hit by Mephisto. He took a blast from Mephisto that was amped up or powered up 1,000 times above normal. We see him blast and clash with Mephisto here. Hell Lords like Mephisto and the other ones are considered pan-dimensional beings. Like, they rule one of the pan-dimensional realities. The reason why Strange blocking or taking attacks from beings like Mephisto's is crazy because these are the kind of beings that can destroy more than one universe just the collateral of them fighting. Like Mephisto and another Hell Lord like Satanus was boxing this one time. Oh, what do you know? Doctor Strange is here too. You can really see that, yeah. Notice that Doctor Strange had the shield from all this madness, this universe breaking kind of force that he's right next to. The whole dimension was going to be in psychic shreds. Strange himself admits this dimension is breaking into pieces. The mystical overflow is starting to spill over to Mephisto's realm and onto the earthly plane. Like apparently 3 or 2 different universes was in jeopardy just from them fighting. And Strange had the shield from this mess. I mean, he's right here. It's literally said that this duel will annihilate one of those 2, probably both universes. If this doesn't convince you of Strange's might, look, Doctor Strange is getting at full potency, can merge actual dimensions or universes. These wands, there's 6 of these wands. Each of these wands have great power. They can manipulate realities more than one would ask. I mean, heck, even when they're not used by Doctor Strange, somebody else can blast and use this and give Doctor Strange some issues with the weapon. Of course, used by Doctor Strange is better, of course, but others can use it and Doctor Strange can still have problems with it. So I'll let you know it's pretty powerful still. Nightmare is a being I would call like a fear lord. Like he's different than Hell Lords, but he's still ridiculously powerful though. At least in the older comics, without any imps, Nightmare considers Doctor Strange somebody that's on his level. Strange agrees. Imagine being in Nightmare's realm and you still overwhelm him. That's how built different Stephen Strange is. He was able to blast and bust through Nightmare's incantations. We see him go panel for panel with Nightmare, blast power, beam stroke with Nightmare, overwhelm Nightmare. Not to mention Doctor Strange has means of surpassing these Fear Lords or Hell Lords. Using all his magical artifacts combined in the Sanctum Sanctorum, he's able to achieve a whole nother level of power to the point to where he can temporarily match the Infinity Gauntlet for a second or two. You can say, let's not have Doctor Strange with prep time. He arranged all his talismans to act together to counteract it. From the wands and scrolls of Watum, from the books of Eban and Vishanti and Darkhold, from gems which are purple and gems which are 2 in 1, from the twin treasures of Agamotto, the results of its momentary equilibrium of power, which even I know almost at once cannot long endure, an outpouring of power against power which would lay waste many worlds. That's an understatement. With prep time, he might debatably have one of the greatest feats of all time. Considering Infinity Gauntlet users pretty much solo, everybody you can think of, like even all the cosmic beings at the same time, like Nebula in this particular situation, this is how overpowered the Infinity Stones are. Like imagine doing this to all these cosmic beings. A lot of these beings can destroy universes themselves. Like these beings right here can destroy multiverse, like Celestials, the In-Betweener, Galactus, multiple Celestials. Yeah, it just gets crazy chaos and order. Doctor Strange with all his talismans put together was able to do better than these guys did temporarily. Infinity Gauntlet users are dubbed as omnipotent. This level of power like this with prep time, you can say he could level multiverses, honestly. But yeah, even without counting all of this though, at the same time, this is prep feat. Strange can forcibly merge. Yeah, he has the ability to merge. He can forcibly merge with infinite beings, beings that are not finite. So when you hear statements of Strange being limitless, you start to kind of believe it. It's even stated that Strange can shackle beings with chains of limitless force, which might sound like an exaggeration, but based on all the stuff you've seen in this video so far, I don't think it sounds like an exaggeration. All these beings he's been fighting are limitless quote-unquote beings. I'm not saying omnipotent, I'm just saying limitless beings. Like, I'm not saying Doctor Strange is on the Living Tribunal level, but there was a few times, Living Tribunal probably ain't trying his hardest, but there was a few times Doctor Strange kind of busted out of his entrapments. I still think it's absurd considering he's the living freaking tribunal. Galactus ate a planet. You know how he does eat planets to increase his power. So yeah, you see Strange right here. He's eating a planet, absorbing it, also eating or absorbing a cosmic powerful being. So Galactus was not starved. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because he's binding Galactus that's pretty powered up. The only way Galactus broke free in this particular situation, which is crazy, is the fact that he had to mess up Doctor Strange's concentration, and that's how he ended up breaking free. But then that's when somebody else helped Doctor Strange restrain him again. He was able to shield from a Galactus this powered up too, guys. Him and Clea worked together to shield from him here while he's enraged. I guess you could say this is another occasion of prep with this Galactus situation. He forged this mace. I'm talking about there was some multiversal stakes going on. All of reality needed to be restored. It was a thing with all this Idrit's energy to split Galactus open to release everything he's consumed, and this is what we see happen to win. This Galactus was so powered up to everything in existence that Doctor Strange had to pretty much tell the parents, hey, living tribunal in eternity, y'all need to step in. Galactus is too much. Like, that's how you know he's crazy powerful. So with Predator, Doctor Strange can definitely hang with the cosmic beings and even do decently without prep. See, back at the Forge, he made some actual gauntlets, made it from a creature that's resistant to magic. He used this gauntlet to counter this magical wrench. He countering this crowbar is crazy because it was been amplified to pry open anything, including reality itself. It's been severely upgraded. He can blast stagger Zarathos Ghost Rider. I know what you're thinking after seeing all this. Yeah, we gotta blitz him before he can even do any spell. That's your easy way to win against him, right? Well, like, he's quick enough to do this to these guys' guns before they can even shoot. Here's a narrate that he can process stuff in a split second. He's reacted to the Marvel speedsters before, like Wizard. He can react in the fraction of a microsecond, a fraction of a millionth of a second. He can react and combat against beings like that Silver Surfer level beings. This is a perfect copy of Silver Surfer, by the way. Yeah, look at the wording right there. A synthetic Silver Surfer. Yeah, and Silver Surfer is way faster than the speed of light. He has to react to this being blitzing him and competing against his blast and blocking his blast in time. You know, that kind of thing. And how are you going to speed blitz somebody if they can distort your time sense? Like, can mess up your equilibrium and just mess your sense of perception up. He can do some Sun Wukong or some Goku type stuff and just fly on clouds. On top of his combat speed, he has some decent point A to point B speed. But why would he need it? He usually can just teleport. But yeah, if he has to, he'd literally be having fights with other characters around the planet. Like, you see the different places, like the pyramids, see the tower. It's proven he can travel faster than the speed of light. He can increase his speed by going in spirit mode. Yet he can astral project like most magicians can do. Spirit mode, he can fly to the center of the earth in no time. Notice how he's always able to travel to people's houses in seconds when he goes in spirit mode. It's implied he's the fastest in this mode. We literally see him traveling across the world in spirit mode in like no time. The fact he can travel to the center of the solar system in no time implies speeds way faster than speeds of light. He'd just be venturing through dimensions, implying speeds faster than light. He's casually flying from planet to planet. You know you got to be fast to do this. He's moving so swiftly in this particular situation that time is suspended itself, like time is frozen. That's how much faster he's moving and everything else. On top of all of this, Doctor Strange is a time manipulator. You're probably familiar with the DC Comics speedsters. Like, some of the DC Comics speedsters are speedsters because they're basically time manipulators. If you can time manipulate and combat while everything else is frozen, that's like you're a speedster. It's like you have super speed. That's what makes Doctor Strange dangerous. In a weird way like this, he can technically achieve infinite speed or limitless speed because of everything in the universe is frozen but him or whatever he desires to be moving to. Literally moving while everything is completely frozen is literally limitless speed. Doctor Strange does acknowledge this is a time freeze. There's comics that narrate him saying he's compressing time. He froze her in a moment in time. If you try to use time manipulation on him, like this guy tried to use a time warp on Strange, Strange nullified it with a chanted charm. He can slow down time in certain proximities. He can slow down or freeze a certain area while everything else moves in normal speed if he wants to. He can cause time to freeze across the entire planet, y'all. When he's astral projecting, he can freeze time for a short amount of time, but he can still do it in his astral form, which is crazy, like making a moment last an extremely long time. Yeah, so good luck blitzing a time manipulator. And not to mention he's fast without this, but still, it's like stacks on top of stacks of speed. He can increase his speed with astral projection. He's fast in his base form. Then he has time manipulation. Like, oh my goodness. Can teleport you to the future, time, traveling. He can transfer a day of his own life to somebody else. Being one of the best magic characters of all time. You've probably seen certain examples of his versatility and hexy nature throughout this video already, but let's just say he's one of those characters that you might as well say he has every power you can think of. You ever heard of chaos magic? The magic you always hear Scarlet Witch use? Let's just say Doctor Strange can also use that magic, tap into it if he needs to, or yeah, he has done it. Visually talked about. Can use dark fire from different entities. He has spells that allow him to breathe underwater. He can shield himself with globule of antimatter. It carries the mystical mage towards his retreat, shielding him from prying eyes, Spell of invisibility, so he can do exactly what Invisible Woman can do. Made himself unseeable to the human eye gaze. See how he goes invisible here? Just like the movies, he can make clones of himself that can also cast their own spells. He can manipulate water Casting a rain spell, call him Magneto because he can make his own magnetic vortex. What you can say, gravity manipulation or density shifting manipulation. He can make you feel heavier than you usually would, make you explode. You could look at this like transmutation or just metal manipulation. He can make his own chains, magical chains to bind you. He has spells that can straight up turn you into stone. He can hurl molecules of air against you. He can solidify clouds, repel stuff by manipulating the electrons, can turn this silver handgun into flies, turn you into snow. It's not just fodder stuff that he transmutes. He's transmuted like magical blasts from other characters or magical attacks from other characters into Blossom's harmless stuff because of elemental transformation. If you're mutated, he can unmutate you. He can solidify air to trap you in a structure, turned actual guns into harmless toys. Bruh can literally make his money, literally, so he doesn't have to go to work. Doctor Strange is like an earthbender. Via magic, we've seen him manipulate the earth itself beneath his feet. We see him manipulate the earth himself to punch you. Can manipulate trees like Groot to ensnare beings. Can do some poison ivy stuff and manipulate plants. He can manipulate and blast out actual darkness. You see him blast with darkness here. He has gum that freezes everything it touches. Or he can just do some Iceman stuff and blast with ice. Or blast with Absolute Zero, who needs speed when you can teleport yourself and a whole bunch of other people to a safe place if you need to. Like, he can do some Nightcrawler type teleportation, or he can just straight up make a portal and teleport. Or he can blast your attack back at you. If you shoot at him and he opens a portal, he can blast your attack back at you by opening his own portal and making it come out the other side to hit you with a surprise attack or something. You could say he can kind of cheat and beat you this way. Like, he can send you to another universe and he don't have to beat you in a legit fight. Or he can just make a portal to travel vast distances. Can send you to another plane of existence. Like, distance isn't an issue. Where would you teleport if you had this ability? Like he did Baron here, hurling him to the far ends of the universe. He can imprison you in your own mind, stated to be able to exile you to the dark dimension. He has extraordinary senses compared to a normal person, obviously. He can see stuff that exists in our reality that are completely oblivious to normal mortals, consistently sensing magical beings or creatures. He can see spectral echoes, the recently deceased, invisible demons who feed on grief and suffering. Without the eye and stuff like that, he has this perception veil that enhances his senses that's all seeing. You could say he got his own version of spider sense. Like, I've already brought up kind of like speed related stuff in this video, but you could kind of say this is part of the reason why he could be fast. He already knows what you're going to do before you do it. He can sense your killing intent. Spider-Man, the man himself, even compared his spider sense to Doctor Strange's super senses. So yeah, he really does have his own version of spider sense, basically. On top of his own spider sense, basically, he kind of has gear that helps him with spider sense too, but it literally will stop somebody that has malice intent. His gear will, even if he's not conscious. Crazy, right? He can sense things that are 100,000 miles above Earth. If he's trying to hide his mystical senses, will let him know that he's found out about. Like, they're onto him, they're onto his game. He can see the condition of your internal organs to see if you have internal bleeding. He can feel waves of heat aura. He knows when something's hidden in your clothes. Telepathy. He can communicate with you without moving his lips. How do you think he's able to communicate with all the sorcerers in the world in different locations? Can plant thoughts in your head. Look inside the ghost's heart to read your memories. Can mind wipe you to make you forget. Spells that can just put you to sleep. Give you memory blocks. Can wipe a day's worth of memory from your head. He can do this to an entire group of people. He can wipe your memories away and then restore them all if the need or the occasion arises. Don't you dare try to mind hex Doctor Strange. His mind is obviously protected with a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, also, his mind is protected too. You can't catch him while you sleep that way. I mean, without magic spells, he has like handy techniques like being able to hypnotize you without it. Telepathy is one thing, but entering your actual dream is another thing. You're literally jumping in somebody's fake reality they created themselves that doesn't exist. Like, huh? If he doesn't do telepathy type stuff to make you mentally forget or something, he can just straight up do some full-blown puppet type stuff, like on some Doflamingo type stuff. Doctor Strange literally has taken command over somebody's muscles before, and he can make his own illusion. There's a lot of trickery, mental game, telepathic type stuff he can do to you to really throw you off balance. Stated here, his illusions can trick even higher ends. He will be a beast detective because evidence that blew up, he could just reconstruct it, put it back together, or bombs that blew up, he can reconstruct it. He's the best guy if you want to preserve an object or a toy. Who needs all these other superheroes when you got Doctor Strange? He can even shrink, aka he can do what Ant-Man can do. Freaking shrink himself. You can say he can reduce magical energy. Like in this occasion, he reduced the magical energy to about 90%. He can paralyze humans, but if you think that's fodder, he can paralyze demons as well. He can stop other sorcerers from talking, aka stopping them from doing spells. Doctor Strange is good against unkillable opponents because he can just seal you away. teleport you somewhere far away to where you can't damage or hurt nobody, or he can undo hypnotic controls or somebody being seduced or manipulated. He can just exorcise beings out of innocent folk. Like, even if the top tier is like Dormammu, he can purify his body of poison. Purification spell, he can filter out the gases out of his system. He literally absorbed billions of nightmares. Nobody's dreaming right at this second. He can force you to go to your other form if you're in another form, like forcing you to go to bat form, to your normal mode. You could say he can give you curses by doing old school Salem magic, giving the character face boils, can remove your mouth from a lot of these different beings. He has truth spells that can force you to tell the truth, can make you more hungry. Of course, this shouldn't be a surprise, but he can basically amp his own body, increase his own metabolic rate to give himself more rapid hair growth. He can remove bad luck from you if you have a hex on you or something. He has his very own dimension or null space, you can say, his creation. Like he stated here, he grafted a portion of his own soul. He can do, so yeah, this is soul manipulation. Gotta love this soul manipulation or transplanting. Treating this like a blood transfusion, but instead of it being a blood transfusion, it's a soul transfusion. He has spells that can destroy ghosts. Just like a lot of Marvel characters, he's gotten stronger or better, skilled as time went by. He's read a lot to the point where he can even learn stuff faster. They even narrate an instant. His mind reviews hundreds of spells, analyzing dozens of magical arts, categorizing them. You know you're always improving when you just create new spells. There was this time where Doctor Strange was the lowest of the low without gear. He had to relearn stuff, get better at stuff he had learned before. These temporary setbacks or the times when he's weak don't really last forever. But stuff like this could be inconsistencies on why he loses on stuff he shouldn't. You know, that could be an explanation for it. Power levels literally fluctuate because of the actual story saying that they're nerfed in the story. It's because the writers purposely nerfed them to give them character development, to improve. They always end up improving still, though. Doctor Strange included. I mean, for a little while, he had to pay a price to use magic, but eventually he overcame this to where he doesn't have to pay the price no more. You know, he's always getting better. I mean, he's even gotten so strong that even characters like Dormammu are unsure if they're stronger than him. I know you're probably tired of hearing Dormammu in this video, though. He's had a lot of temporary power-ups and temporary nerfs, where he would lose the Sorcerer Supreme title or power. He would get it back, or blah, 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 vice versa, become a vampire for a little bit, become Iron Man, became Harvest Man, Death Sorcerer Supreme, and even temporarily possessed by the Void. You got another temporary power that's more recent, where Strange got empowered by the Trinity of Ashes, the counterpart, the other side of the Vishanti. He was fighting a version of himself that's way more battle experience, I would say. General Strange, I guess that's a valid reason to lose. It's really just Strange, but battle hardened and has a hardened heart and having to deal with a lot of different stressful things that messed up his character. Yeah, he's went through some adventures with some cosmic beings and stuff, and one of his trials, interacting with cosmic beings, he has, like, you could argue some form of immortality. He has ways to keep himself alive. He's an extremely hard character to kill, even though it's still possible because nobody's truly immortal in fiction, but still. If you somehow manage to harm his body, which is hard to do in and of itself thanks to his shields and other defenses and stuff, if you do manage to harm him, he can kind of reconstruct himself. Because there's this time him and Spider-Man appeared to be completely obliterated. He can reconstitute his body and Spider-Man's body in a place outside the physical. See, what had happened was they both was torn apart and scattered to the multi-dimensional winds. He reconstructed himself. Like, Doctor Strange can literally play all positions. He can not only look out for himself, heal himself, but he can also reconstitute everybody on the battlefield, heal everybody, reconstitute their bodies, put them back together. Even if you're higher end cosmic type characters like Galactus or Silver Surfer or Herald level beings, he can still kind of reconstitute you. So it's not only just lower tiers like Spider-Man level or whatever. Like, I'm talking about when Doctor Strange literally explodes. He, like, yeah, you see nothing here and he can put himself back together. Yep. In this particular situation, Doctor Strange was using dark magic here. Gear that can stab and wound characters like Mephisto. Doctor Strange can heal wounds on himself from this kind of gear. Doctor Strange has full-blown healing spells he can cast on people, spell of regeneration. Like, you can legit try to turn his legs into vapor and he can reverse it. And let's just say he has contingencies if he was to die. There was this time he was being forced into 2 dimensions because the space was collapsing. You could say this is enduring existence erasure because his very existence is being shattered into a million shards. He can resist and let the flames of Faltina meld him together. Yeah, it's really hard to murk this guy. You know you built different when Doom kind of sort of compares his willpower to yours, like saying Strange can't be broken. He can cast a spell to understand any language. He can walk through walls like Shadowcat. He can use this thing known as the Crimson Band's magic to restrain different X-Men at the same time, even if they're powerhouses. He has gear that helps him be a good detective by retracing steps or reanimating clothes so he can investigate better. I mean, you've probably seen plenty of gear throughout this video, but his base of operations, Sanctum Sanctorum, this is one of those places that will be interesting to explore. If you're not allowed in the Sanctum Sanctorum, let's just say it's hard to maneuver if you're not welcome, like the Avengers in this particular situation. Because from time to time, we'll see Doctor Strange use this gear sometimes, like the Book of Ashanti, as a shield against powerful beings. Like I showed in this video that he can create his own weapons and stuff, but there's other gear that's just helpful. Like, for example, has a globe that can just see what's going on the planet, kind of like a crystal ball, but it's just a globe of the planet and he can just see what's going on. Trust me, if something's going on Earth, he knows about it. He has resistance against psionic stuff without this gear, but like for example, he has the Eye of Agamotto type gear that can block psychic type of bolts, for example. So it's like another layer of protection on top of him already having protection or resistance. You may or may not know about his cloak already that helps him fly. He's had different capes, though, some that help protect him to add durability, you know. If you've been playing Marvel Rivals lately, you've probably been wondering what the heck is the Eye of Agamotto. It's good for dispelling illusions, amping up Doctor Strange. Like, it literally made Namor and Hulk fight here by confusing them, for example. So it's a very powerful artifact Doctor Strange just always uses. Like all these different binding type things, energy creatures or tendrils he can summon to restrain beings if needed. No, Doctor Strange, when he's nerfed, he's not afraid to actually build his magical weapons if his magic is like lower or something and he doesn't have as much access to magic as he usually would. Like he made his own construct that can basically do Yellow Lantern type stuff, making giant hand constructs out of energy or magic, or pin you to the wall because of a gear he made. Made an armband that would give him limitless stamina. And these gauntlets that I mentioned earlier, remember these? One of his many gears, Wand of Watum, can hypnotize and control, erase souls from existence, fire magical energy blast, can summon cosmic winds. This Moon Mojo is something he believes can put Dormammu to sleep. Essendra dust that makes stuff levitate, stuff he can do normally. He got gear that can do the same powers he can do. He got potions you can take that helps you grow larger so you can help Doctor Strange in fights. Same with a shrinking potion. You know about the famous cloak that can move on its own without Doctor Strange. He has the Palm of Forgetfulness. It helps you forget stuff. This amulet for teleportation. He can make his own shields, but he also has weapons that are actual physical, magical type shields or gear. Levitation helmet, an axe filled with magical energy. He's got these wings that help him absorb incredible energy. Yeah, Doctor Strange has forged weapons. Yep, he has a mace that increases your actual strength or striking power, an amulet that protects you from poison. I kind of mentioned this stuff earlier, but it makes you more resistant to magic. He has gear like that. Swords that allow you to cut through space-time. He can heal you with spells, regeneration like that, or he has potions just for emergency that will fix him right up. He has gear for time travel, even though he can already time manipulate. You're probably tired of me bringing up the Eye of Agamotto, but it's very useful. It's like literally a magic satchel. It can contain all his talismans, so he can always have his gear within the Eye of Agamotto. That's also one of his standard gear that's pretty powerful to where he can even mess up Doctor Strange himself if you use it against him. The amulet can produce incredible light. The amulet is like an all-seeing eye. It's like an extra sense, even though he already has super senses. It can detect and see unseen mystical forces, can create solid light shields to help protect Doctor Strange. Obviously, it can make his sight better, absorb energy and turn it to nothingness. Like he's the ultimate energy absorber. Deflect attacks. Helps him break out of illusions made by Mephisto. It can bathe you in holy light. Oh, by the way, I know you like the Eye of Agamotto and you want to steal it, but he has spells that go around the Eye of Agamotto to where if you try to steal it, it will be a spell around it. He's had gear that was responsible for him having temporary power-ups. Like when he was the God of Magic, the Yggdrasil staff. It doesn't matter who holds it. If you wield it, you get incredible power. They even reference this here about the Yggdrasil part that made him a God of Magic, amplifying himself. Here's a little fun blueprint of the Sanctum Sanctorum on how it works on the inside. Enjoy. The different comics that show different angles of it. There's a lot about Doctor Strange to unpack. But yeah, Doctor Strange is crazy powerful. Do you like him being Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard, or do you want him to go back to being the Sorcerer Supreme of the Earthly Realm? I want to hear your thoughts below. Like, share, hype up the video if you can. This video was crazy to make. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope it ain't too long.